Uh, yeah. Hi,
Yes,
Pratik.
no problem. Yeah, good morning, sir.
Yeah. So, thank you for giving your time for this interview. So, I'm going to record this interview for future reference or for future cross checking your background or anything. So, I got
No
your
problem.
CV for the position of the network engineer. And so, can you walk
Yes.
me through you? Can you walk me through your CV, that what you have done so far and what is your
Yes,
background
sir.
in IT? Yeah.
Yes, sir. In my current role as L1, I'm responsible for maintaining the LAN environment, introducing the new devices to the LAN environment, and maintaining day-to-day inventories, giving customer support, reporting to the issues, and all that cover my like jobs and responsibilities. And I started working with SGIT 2 years ago, and during COVID I started my training, and then I joined them as intern, and I'm still working with them.
And what about your education background? What you have done?
Yes, I've completed my Bachelor of Arts in 2020, and I started my training with my graduation going on.
Okay, you are from a non-technical background, but still you are working in the IT industry for the past couple of years. So what
Yes,
bring you
yes.
in the IT industry?
Yes, sir. It's a very complicated story. As I used to play football and I played semi-professionally, and my aim was to become a professional footballer. But due to an injury, I couldn't play on the top level anymore. And I had interest in computers and technology from my childhood. So few of my family members are also working in IT industry, so they guided me that you can try network engineering as you have interest in new technologies. So I started training, and then I joined SGIT as intern.
Okay, that's quite inspiring. Okay, uh, so right now you are handling the customer LAN environment. So what is are the main thing you do for your customer? I mean, you are responsible for the field job, or you are handling only single customer, or how is your job?
Yeah, our company is a startup company, and we deal with small clients who come from the educational and healthcare backgrounds, and we handle clients who have small colleges and small healthcare facilities. So sometimes we have to give field support also, and mostly we give support remotely. The smaller issues which can be fixed by a call or on call, and if the problem stays, we have to go there physically and isolate the problem and troubleshoot it.
Okay, okay. So now let's come to the technical part, and let's start with the questions. So
Yes, sir.
can you explain what is routing?
Routing is basically that we have to like uh, any packet that need any packet to communicate with the other two systems. When they communicate, they need to have a proper path to communicate. So routing is basically specifying the path which the packet will take to reach the destination.
Okay, then what is the routable
uh,
protocol?
Routable
What
or
is route?
routed protocols can be, we can say that the protocols which are used to do routing, without which routing cannot be done. So we can say IP is a routed protocol, IPX is a routed protocol, Apple Talk is a routed protocol.
Okay, okay. When do we need a routing? In which can you give me a scenario where we need a routing? Okay,
Routing is needed when uh, two you can say two devices need to communicate who are in different networks. Then we need routing. If the devices are in the same network, then they can communicate via switch.
Okay, that's great. Great to hear that. Uh, okay, so what is the switch? You mentioned just earlier that the switch can make a way to communicate if there is a two PC in same
Yeah.
network. Then what is the switch?
Switch is mostly used on layer 2 of a network, and what it does, it is installed in a LAN environment, and what it does, it just forwards the packet or the request, which is for the destined device in the LAN environment. So we can say that uh, A has to communicate with B, and they are in the same network or same LAN environment. Then it's the switch's job to forward the packet from particular interface to the particular interface.
And how switch get to know that on this interface leave this MAC address and on this interface leave this MAC address?
Uh, it is known via ARP. So, like whenever a switch receives a request that it has to go somewhere, it broadcasts its first packet, and like it sends the packet to the every interface, and the reply which the device which accepts that packet, that yes, it is for me, then the packet knows, then the switch knows that this interface at this MAC address, and any request come for this MAC address, I have to send this packet to the proper interface.
Okay, and what is the DNS? What it does for us?
Computer doesn't know the domain names which we type, like we need to search google.com, but the computer language doesn't know what is google.com, so it needs an IP address. So DNS just converts the domain name to the IP address, so it can further communicate over the internet.
Okay, okay. And what is DSCP?
DHCP stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, and like in a big LAN environment or big organization, it's not possible. It is humanly possible, but it consumes a lot of time to give IPs to each device manually. So DHCP is a server based service, so it provides the IP address automatically for release time to every device in the LAN environment, and it can provide the IPs with only the number of IPs which are available in the DHCP server.
Okay, what is on which logical port the DHCP works?
Port number for DHCP are 67 and 68.
The 67 will be used by server or client.
Yes, server.
So the before the handing over an IP address to a client system, DHCP must
Yes,
go through a process which is called a DORA process. So
yes, yes.
what is that? Can you explain that to me?
DORA process is basically D stands for discover. The device which needs an IP address, it will send a request packet, which stands for discover. So it will be searching for the IP address, and then we have offer, then a request, then is acknowledgement. So like when the device requests an IP address, DHCP will offer it. Then like the device will request that, yeah, I need that IP address. Then it will acknowledge.
Okay, so if let's say specific the discover message, what will be included in the discover message? What would be the source IP, destination IP, and
Yeah, in the source IP, we don't, the device which is requesting it will not have an IP address. If it had, it will not be asking to DHCP. So source IP will be 0.0.0.
okay,
And
and what would be the destination IP?
destination IP, I'm confused about it, but it doesn't know the server's IP address already. So
Okay,
it should also be 0.0.0.
If it is a zero dot, then it won't leave the network.
Then I'm not aware about it currently.
Okay, it should be I broadcast, right? 255.
Yeah, yes. Sorry.
No problem. Okay, so let's say we have a one scenario where our one client PC is not taking IP address from DHCP server. So what step
Yes.
you will take to troubleshoot that issue?
First, we will see that the Discover packet is reaching the server or not. So, like, first we will check that the reachability is there or not between the server and the client, and
And how can we
then
do that?
we have to use the ping command, and
Okay,
we have to also check that the IP is there should not be any static IP on the PC. So already we should not have been given the static IP to the PC. If that is the case, it will not take the IP from the DHCP server.
okay. So do you have any idea on switching protocol like STP per channel and other?
Yes. Like STP is used to have an loop-free topology in our LAN. So what STP does is that it will uh, prevent the topology to have loops in it. If there is a loop, then it will automatically switch down a link. So like there should not be any loop, or packet should go round and round in a particular loop.
And how does that STP?
Can you repeat?
How does that STP? You said that it prevent loop. How does?
Yes.
Is there any
uh,
mechanism that STP run?
yes, it is done by the what you say, BPD messages, and it knows about the topology, where's the loop, and it will just manually, or no, it will automatically down the link.
Who will be elected a root bridge, and what we call the root bridge the port, whatever the port is coming on the root
Yeah,
bridge. Okay, what that port we called in technical terms?
that port will be called designated port, and every the ports on the root bridge will always be called designated ports, and the port which is coming from below the root bridge, they will be called root ports, and all the other switches will just like they will send the messages to the root bridge.
Okay, so what is the ether channel? Okay.
Ether channel is used for redundancy between the core switches. So like what it does, it provides the redundancy to the core switch, and there are two switches connected by like two cables, and they act as a single logical cable. So whenever a link goes down, or there is a problem with one cable, it will automatically start using the other cable for the transmission.
Okay, you mentioned that it used between the cores. So can
Yeah.
we use that in between core switch and access switch?
No, according, like as I can recall, I think we cannot use them.
Okay, are you sure?
I'm not sure about it, but like I think so.
Okay, okay. So, uh, do you have any idea of firewall? What is
No,
that?
no, sir. I don't have hands-on experience, but I know what is firewall is, and
What is it?
basically it is a security device, and it is installed. We can use it, install it before the router or after the router for a LAN environment. So it like inspect the every packet or request which comes from outside, and it determines that whether to allow or deny that request, to enter our LAN environment for security purposes.
Okay. What is intralink?
Not aware, sir.
What is internet?
Yeah, internet. You can say it is a web service or by which we can communicate anywhere in the world from multiple devices or any server from our home only.
Do you have experience on routing protocols?
Not hands-on experience, but I'm currently studying them and I know basics about them.
Okay. So, have you ever configured a default route or a static route?
Yes, like during my training, I've configured static routes and default routes
Uh,
also.
okay. What is the static route?
Static routing is basically we have to tell the router about the every available router in the LAN environment and every possible path for a particular destination available in our LAN. So there we have to configure manually the destination IP and the next stop on the every router for every destination. So it takes a lot of time.
Okay. And what is floating static route?
Uh, I'm not aware, sir.
So, what is the difference between dynamic protocols and static protocols?
In dynamic protocols, we just have to tell the router about the directly connected routers from it, and it will like we have to just provide the information about the available routers in the LAN environment. That will automatically determine which part to take and which is the best path to reach the destination. But in static route, we can determine that which which route it should take to reach that destination.
Okay, on which layer the router works? Which
It
layer?
works on the layer 3
Layer
of the
3.
OSI model. Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me the name of 7 layer of OSI model?
Yes, sir. There are 7 layers in OSI model. We start from the bottom, which is the physical layer. Then we come on data link layer, then network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, and then in the last there is application layer.
Okay. So all the layers play a role when one computer wants to communicate with another computer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And tell me where the session layer come into picture.
Session layer comes into picture when we establish communication between two devices, and it will maintain for like for how long the communication communication stayed, and it will be responsible to terminate the session and maintain the session between two devices.
Okay. So what is the role of TCP/IP model then?
uh yeah like TCP/IP and OSI model are basically the same, but TCP/IP is the actual model which we use in our network. But the OSI model is basically a reference model, and it is better to explain our network. So TCP/IP is not known for explaining our network properly, but it is used in our network. And OSI model it explains the network better than the TCP/IP because it distinguish 7 layers separately, but in TCP/IP there are only 4 layers shown. So the top 3 layers in OSI model, which is application, presentation, and session, are combined and shown as only application layer in TCP/IP.
Okay, which layer do you understand most? If you say that I am very comfortable on this layer, so what would be that layer?
I can say physical layer is most easy to understand. So physical and like top three layers, like physical, data link, and network, I'm comfortable with them.
Okay. So you're not comfortable with transport layer?
But I am, but I don't know much about it. So I just know that it the ports come into play in transport layer. So UDP and TCP ports come into play.
Okay. Why do we use port? A logical port.
Uh, Ports are used to like to send or receive the particular request from particular server on the particular port. So like it is easier for our PC or device, like to, you can say, to send the packet to the system without confusing between the port, which port should I take. So there are like uh, how can you say, I'm sorry, but I'm not able to explain properly.
Okay. So what is no problem? So what is the net?
Yeah, NAT stands for network address translation, and there are two types of IPs in our network: public IP and a private IP. So the IPs which we use in our LAN are the private IPs, and private IP cannot communicate over the internet, so we need public IP. So on our gateway, there's a we use NAT to translate the private IP to the public IP, so it can further communicate over the internet and like fulfill our request.
Okay. Okay, Pratik. So, okay, Pratik, I am done with this interview. It was
Okay,
nice
sir.
to talk to with you, and
Yes,
I
sir.
will share my feedback to HR, and HR will get back to you. Okay.
Oh, sure,
Do
sir.
you have any question for this job I'm that you are applied for? Do you have any question?
Not particular questions, as the HR already filled me in with all the job description and rules which I'll be doing if I get selected. So
Okay.
but I'll be expecting to receive any feedback as soon as possible.
Okay, sure, sure. I will provide my feedback and they will get back to you.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
You too.